J, M, J, V, in position. It's showtime, ladies! Time for Final Fantasy X-2! What can I do for you?
What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? I can't hear you. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Heyo.
John Shoepuff Brandon.
Ride the shoe puff again.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, and I know everything.
And John, please pay attention when I say this week. This is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs.
Excellent fucking call out.
Are we recording?
Are we recording? Everybody check their tracks and make sure they hit record. Jim.
I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, I should probably check. Hold on. Let me add to that. We play your favorite classic RPGs one chonker at a time.
So it's not like we play them all one episode at a time, or it's like not one game
even
per
play
episode.
them all at once. We've recorded multiple episodes.
Yeah.
So let's see. We're playing Final Fantasy X-2.
That's a good name for a podcast. I mean, a game. Or a podcast.
That is a good name for a podcast. Let's change our podcast name to Final Fantasy X-2.
Am I the only one that called this game Final Fantasy X up until a couple of years ago when we played Final Fantasy X?
So hold on. You saw Final Fantasy 9, which was Roman numerals IX, saw the next game in the series, which was Final Fantasy X, and thought, you know what? Final Fantasy X.
But, I mean, in Matt's defense, if you look at the box here, it does mix Roman and Arabic numerals.
That is true, John.
It does say X-2.
This is actually back in when I was, like, the first time I played Final Fantasy X days. See, here's Matt's story. Matt didn't play video games for a long, long time because Matt couldn't afford consoles. So I didn't go back and actually play a lot of this stuff until several years after it all came out, when I bought myself a used PlayStation 2. And every game I ever wanted any game that caught my eye for like $1 to $5 at GameStop.
That is the way to do it, I think. If you can hold out 5 years and then just buy the console and every game you've ever wanted, that is... I mean, there's going to be a couple of games where you might not be able to find physical copies of them because they were, like, only made 10,000 or something. Your Panzer Dragoons and such.
Mm-hmm. So we played Final Fantasy 12. That's a 10 and a 2. Final Fantasy 12.
No, it's like 10-2, so it'd be like 8. 10 minus
you're
2.
right.
It is,
Yep,
it
yep,
is 10
it
minus
is
2. So this is Final Fantasy 8.
Or is this algebra? Are we supposed to solve for Final Fantasy X minus 2?
Yeah.
Well, it's X divided by X minus 2 if you look at the box.
Solve for X.
I wish I didn't have a physical copy of it because switching discs when I want to play Bloodborne is really annoying.
That is annoying. I'm glad that I got the Switch version. Is there a fast forward option on the PlayStation version?
No, not that I know of. Is there one on the Switch?
No, the going from Final Fantasy VII with its 3x speed to going to Final Fantasy X with its regular time speed has been a bit of a crunch for Matthew. In fact, that would actually be a great time for me to just go ahead and admit I'm not all the way caught up. So...
Well, you would have been, but then I was like, oh, you should probably go back and get this amazing robot mech for Pain.
No, I would have been, but then I got absolutely crushed by a boss and was like, hang on a minute. John wildly misled me into thinking that I only had to do a couple of things, but it turns out I actually have to go do all this other stuff if I actually want to be able to play the game.
And when was I like, you just have to do those two?
You said it would take 3 hours.
I said it could.
I played
if
it
you
2
just
nights
do the 2
and thought
missions.
I was good to go. Yet you have to. We'll talk about it. You know what? We'll talk about it. We should do the normal thing that we do at this point in the episode, which is level up. And since this is a special first episode, because it's Final Fantasy X Part 2, Episode 1, we should probably also talk about what little experience we have with this game. What should we do first, Jim?
Let's level up. Let's do
sounds
that.
good.
Vanessa, why don't you kick us off this week?
Okay, I will. Ahem.
Ahem.
I love the theater loves
Theater
me.
loves her.
I love remote theater, it's the place to be. Enjoy the Broadway stars from the comfort of your home. It's the Sondheim 90 Day birthday celebrate. It fell apart at the end, I'll admit that. On Sunday night, I streamed on the YouTube the Stephen Sondheim 90th birthday celebration bonanza. It was amazing. All of your favorite stars were there. Meryl Streep, Patti LuPone, Audra McDonald, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mandy Patinkin, Neil Patrick Harris, Kelly O'Donnell, who else? Beanie Feldstein, Jonah Hill's sister, and Ben Platt, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and of course, my number one celebrity crush, Raul Esparza, hosting the whole thing.
Oh, he hosted it? Rad.
He sure did. He did well, it's difficult to say someone did a good job when their camera falls over and then you're just staring at the underside of their coffee table. But, he did his best job. It was plagued with some technical difficulties at the beginning.
I thought she was going to say he did a crime.
He did a crime to Sondheim. No, he did good. It was a slow start. It was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, and it didn't start until around 10 o'clock. But start it did eventually.
Wow.
And then all the stars were shining in their live-to-tape recordings of Sondheim songs from their homes.
The night sky was bare because all the stars were on YouTube.
That's right. It was real good. I love Sondheim very much. It was really fun to see these performances of his works that were so intimate because, it's just the singer and the camera, and they're right there, and they're in their own space, and they talk about what the songs mean to them, and then they sang. It was good. It's still available on YouTube, on Broadway.com's YouTube stream. It is a benefit for artists striving to end poverty, and that helps youths learn art and things like that. So watch it. If you feel like donating, donate. You don't have to, but you definitely have to watch it, because if you don't love the theater, if you don't know Sondheim, maybe now's the time to start, yo. Just put it on while you're playing a video game and listen to the music and see how it makes you feel. What have you got to lose? Speaking
Is
of...
Ladies Who Lunch a Sondheim?
It is.
Okay,
And
I like that one.
That was performed by Audra McDonald, Meryl Streep, and what's her name? Christine Baranski.
Ooh.
They sang it as a trio. It was great. There were some wonderful deep cuts. Stephen Sondheim wrote the music for the Dick Tracy film, which was, I think, underserved by the performances in that movie, but really great songs.
Huh, I didn't know that.
It's
There's
a
songs
true
in the
fact.
Dick Tracy movie?
Oh, there
Oh yeah,
sure
Breathless Mahoney has a few numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The
Madonna.
Piano songs.
Mhm.
I love that movie. Legitimately.
Yeah.
Except for Warren Beatty, although he's good in the role. I just don't like Warren Beatty.
I haven't seen that movie in like 25 years.
That was like the first movie I can remember being really, really excited to see in the theater. So much so that when I went to see it, I was sitting there and watching the movie, but I was thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm finally seeing Dick Tracy. It's like I wasn't even paying attention to the movie because I was just so into the idea of seeing the movie. And I don't know why. Because I was not a Dick Tracy fan or anything like that. It was just like, I don't know, it must have been Steven. I love the theater, and the theater loves me. And there's one thing I love the most when it comes to stage, and that's Sondheim. Sondheim is my rage.
I was a weird kid that would actually check out like Dick Tracy comic strip collections from the library. So I was really excited about Dick Tracy. That's what you're leveling up about, right? You saw Dick Tracy?
I saw Dick Tracy. So I watched that Sondheim thing. I also watched a movie called The Judge with Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. My friends,
Judge Reinhold and Aaron Judge.
that is not a good movie. I highly
I've heard
recommend
it was
you
bad.
watch it.
Doesn't Robert Duvall like poop his pants or something in that movie?
Yeah, he shits all over himself, and then Robert Downey Jr. gets in the bathtub with him and hoses him off. And it's very graphic. There's also a part where Robert Downey Jr. pees on another man. That's kind of how the movie starts. And later he makes out with a very young woman who he comes to believe for a while is his daughter. But it turns out, good news, spoilers, she's not his daughter. She's just his niece. So it's okay.
Yikes.
It's terrible. But put it on mute and just look at Robert Downey Jr. He's super charismatic. John,
Hi!
how did you level up?
I leveled up by playing a game with my good friend Jim.
Hey, that's me.
It's Jim Banks, co-host of the Square Roots podcast.
Can we do a co-level up on this one? Because that was going to be
Sure.
mine too.
The game's a little tricky to set up multiplayer. You gotta make sure you have one of you is kindled, which means you're slightly on fire. And then you have to like find this sigil that you put into the ground and then activate that. And you have to have a password, or else you might get randos. Although you can get evil randos in your game at any time.
I think you can kick. Can you kick him out? You can kick him out.
Yeah,
There's an
but, I
item.
mean, it's
yeah.
fine.
I do appreciate. Well, no, I won't say appreciate. I don't like the fact that, like, if you summon me into your game, I can't pick up stuff that's like items that are placed in the environment.
Right. You can only get enemy drops.
Yeah, that sucks.
But you don't lose anything if you die, so that's definitely an upside.
Oh, you don't do you still get souls?
Yeah, you still get souls and you don't lose them if you die.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there's definitely an upside to being like the shepherd helping your friend through it. So Dark Souls 3, the third game in the Dark Souls trilogy. We haven't played 1 or 2, I think. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, so we are starting at the end, and then I guess we'll play backwards or something. Who knows?
I heard Dark Souls is Dark Souls 2 the one that people don't like very much,
I
or as much.
I don't know. It gets complicated, I think. I
It
think
does,
some people
because
like it.
I think everybody loves 1. Some people really love 2, but a lot of people think it was a disappointment. But then some people really fucking hate 3. But
That's
I
right.
think a lot of people. I think 3 was maybe like critically not as panned, not panned, but not as well received. But
Yeah.
I think people still really enjoyed it.
And
Didn't
2
people
has
see-
two versions. It's got the Scholar of the First Sin special
Right.
edition, which like puts enemies in different places and stuff. And
Oh,
some people
really?
like Vanilla 2 better than Scholar of the First Sin 2. And
I thought
Didn't
Scholar
some-
was just a DLC.
It's the game plus the DLC, and it's like John said, the enemies are remixed a little bit.
yeah,
Interesting.
And then I think wasn't people's problems with 3 a lot of it? Some people thought that it was too easy. Like they were
Yeah.
trying to appeal to casuals too much.
certainly
Yes.
Jim and I never died. Not once.
I died a lot when I was playing with you.
We died tons. JK. We are very bad. But playing, I find those games are much more fun multiplayer because it seems less scary.
Yeah, for sure. I would love it if like we all just got in a group chat and watched John play Dark Souls 3 and heckle John. That would be
sounds
so
amazing.
fun.
I do
I
pop
really
in
want-
and heckle you guys when you're on
Yeah.
the Twitter with it a little bit.
You did on the Twitch.
Yeah.
On the Twitch, that's right.
Otherwise, let's talk a bit more about that. Jim and I have not beat a boss yet, have we?
Well, the first one, which
Oh,
is
yeah, we did beat. That took me a
The-
while
yeah.
because I got a magic build, and it's a little different with magic than if you got like a sword and shield build. But then, like he's not a boss, but like that big guy with the shield running around, I could just destroy him with my spells while Jim was running around down there, and that was amazing.
Yeah, the big giant like armored guy.
Mm-hmm. I did defeat the Tower Knight in Demon Souls last week. That was pretty fun. I felt very proud of myself. And I'm working on getting to the first boss of the prison in that. And in Bloodborne, I'm playing with Julio. I got to the library in the snowy level where you have to like get an invitation to go out there, and then the horses are dead. You know, that cool cutscene?
Yeah, yeah.
That's really fun too. And I do find with Bloodborne, Julio and I don't die too much except for against Rom the vacuous spider thing.
The part the one enemy, like the one area and the one enemy that I had the most problems with is where those horses take you, that like big mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of it, there are these big like tick lady enemies that jump. I could never, ever, ever figure out their attack patterns.
I would run past them.
I would.
Not
That's what I
engaged.
ended up doing, just because they killed me so many times. Like I just could not figure out like when they would jump. Like none of their attacks are really telegraphed, so like you can't really predict what they're gonna do.
And they're so creepy.
I know they're so gross.
Jim, is there anything else you want to add to your level up?
I will say that I was very hesitant to jump back into a Souls game because, like, what sticks with me most about my Bloodborne experience, even though like I played the whole thing and beat it, was that how stressful it was. Like how much I would just want to snap my controller in half. And so that's why I've never gone back. But playing with John reminded me what I liked about my Bloodborne experience, which was like how gratifying it is to level up your character and just mow enemies down that were giving you trouble, and how fun the progression is, and how kind of small a part of, like, the frustration is a small part of the experience.
It's not as
once
hard
you get
as
a hang of it.
I thought it would be. Like you can
No.
definitely. I'm not that great. I find this easier than Ocarina of Time. So take that for what you will.
It's got modern controls versus Ocarina's weird N64 based controls
That is true.
and terrible camera.
So Matt, or I guess
Yo.
no, Jim. Sorry, Jim's the one to hand off. So
Oh, sure. Matt, why don't you level up?
Ooh, what do I want to talk about? Not a ton's going on, so I'll talk about two things. They're both movies. Movie one was a movie called Code 8 that I watched that is on Netflix. It stars the Amell brothers, Robbie and Steven? Yeah, Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell played Arrow on CW's Arrow, and Robbie Amell played Firestorm in maybe the same show. Maybe it was Flash. Anyway, it's a new Netflix movie about, with both of the brothers in it, about like superpowers, like X-Men. It's like an X-Men world. It wasn't great.
Did
to be
you
perfectly
watch
frank.
this movie, Matt? Because it sounds like you didn't actually watch it. It sounds like you saw it listed on Netflix and you're like, I need to level up. I'll say I watch this.
Did y'all see that? Has anybody watched that movie Extraction? The Chris Hemsworth.
That just came out like 3 days ago or 5 days ago or something.
Well, yeah, I haven't watched it. So I was sitting there Sunday night, a couple of days after it had come out, trying to think of something, trying to pick something to watch, and I had that movie and this Amell movie, Code 8, and it looked like more of like a superhero-y action movie, and they're both known for playing superheroes on television. And I thought, well, this will be the fun one. And the Extraction movie, I've heard, is very bloody and will probably be a more serious movie that I'll watch later on when my kids aren't home. And I may have gotten them backwards because the Brothers movie was kind of like a heist movie or like a Training Day type movie, but like everybody had superpowers, but people with powers were like illegal. There were robot cops.
Is it a good movie?
It's not great, and that's why I'm having such a hard time describing it. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of assumed that maybe at least one of you had heard of it. No?
Nope.
I've
never
heard of it,
the
yeah.
Amell brothers either.
Well, I know you watch CW, so I know that you would recognize Stephen Amell because he played the Green Arrow in the show Arrow.
Wait, he was in it or he directed it?
He was in it. Both of the Amell brothers were in it, and unfortunately, they did not play brothers.
I've never watched Arrow.
It's not great. At one point, I thought that maybe the older brother was going to play the younger brother's father, and that would have been maybe like a fun, weird thing. But then the movie was just the movie wanted to be more of like a crime drama in a world in like a near future where a percentage of the population has superpowers. And to be perfectly frank, the drama was kind of stale, and I was kind of like, this isn't great. It's fine, I guess. So that's Level Up 1. That's movie 1. Movie 2 is a movie I've been talking about in our group chat for several days, and this movie is a great movie. And I want to talk to everybody about it.
Is it the Street Fighter movie?
It's called Street Fighter 2, the animated movie from 1994. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie from 1994. It's an anime for sure, but it's not like a weird anime. It's like they tried really hard to make like a 90s movie, like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, or like, like a 90s action movie. But animated with Street Fighter characters, and it's really weird. I really love it, though, and I've literally been watching it kind of over and over again for the last couple of days. Have any of you ever watched Street Fighter 2, the animated movie?
Of course
I didn't even know it was a
not.
thing.
I have.
Vanessa, absolutely.
But I remember, like, Zangief's in a fight with Chun-Li, is that right?
No, Zangief isn't really in the movie much, and when he is, he fights Blanca.
Oh, that's right. I just remember that, and I was like, no, this isn't. There's not enough Zangief. He's not oiling himself up. He's not flirting with men.
But all of the other men are so beefy. They're so beefy. I kind of thought it might be a little.
They got rid of the beefiest boy.
Yeah. It's a weird movie that uses the like Street Fighter 2, like the original version's characters and not much else. But it's great because it's like constant fights, and the fights are really well done. They look great. It feels shot. I don't have the language for some of this, unfortunately, but it feels shot like it is very much trying to ape the style of a big budget blockbuster action movie, R-rated action movie, but it is animated. What I have loved so much about it that has had me watching it over and over again for the last few days is that it is so steeped in the 90s that it exudes 90s. Like the soundtrack is all 90s, and the camera work feels all 90s, and the dialogue feels all 90s. And
like they're just making Bill like Monica Lewinsky jokes.
Oh my god, Jim! Like you would get like just like the fucking language. Like somebody I think uses tubular and not as like a fucking not ironically. You know what I mean? Like it is so early 90s. There's definitely like Stone Temple Pilots songs in there.
Hell yeah!
Some of the background songs definitely sound like fucking something out of like an 80s movie with a bunch of sax behind Guile as he like, emotes about whatever Guile's fucking problem is. And it is legitimately an R-rated movie that does have a fucking explicit shower scene with Chun-Li.
Oh, it sure does.
It's a 90s movie, so of course the heroine has to show her tits off. It's crazy. I can't believe how much I have been enjoying this movie.
Speaking of 90s music, I booted up a YouTube video, and I had to turn off YouTube Premium because I'm saving money. And the commercial was a commercial for Final Fantasy VII Remake with a lady covering that Rat in the Cage Smashing Pumpkins song.
What? Are you serious?
That's the commercial that they air on television.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
have
What?
cable.
I see that commercial. It's a cover of Smashing Pumpkins' "Rat in a Cage," and it actually
It's not
sounds like
called
a
Rat in a
pretty
Cage,
good
it's
cover.
called Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Suck
You tell
a
him, Jim.
fucking butt.
But I actually thought it was pretty well done. Although
world
it's like
is a vampire. Sent
fucking
to
love that song.
I
I actually still kind of like Smashing
Secret
Pumpkins. I throw that album into the rotation sometimes. It's a good
But
one.
it's like a Florence and the Machine type singer who's like, despite
Yeah.
all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
That is not what Florence and the Machine sounds like at all. She has an amazing voice.
Well, no, I mean better than my
She
voice.
projects.
Yeah.
Sir, she's not a whisper singer.
I am still just a rat in your cage.
That
Oh,
is
this
what
is
it
a
would
good
sound
version of the
like.
song.
If it was covered by Florence and the Machine, it is a good version. I really like that cover.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good
by
commercial.
Karen O.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, from the Yeah Yeahs.
Oh,
From
that's
what?
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's cool. Anyway, that was my level up. I wanted to talk a bit about the Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Vanessa, I appreciate the fact that you have no interest in it, so I won't try to recommend it to you. Jim, it is on Prime. It's an hour and a half, man. If you're bored,
I'm
put it
gonna
on
have
and
to
blow
check that
through
out.
it. It's legitimately, just for the 90s nostalgia, it's super fucking fun.
Now I just remembered what a good song Maps is by the Yeah Yeahs.
Jim doesn't love you like Jim loves you.
That's such
Hey,
a good song.
Before we get to we need to get to the quest log, but before we do, we do need to talk.
Is that Vanessa playing Rock Band?
That's a good video too. If you guys want to watch a good
Do
music video.
need to talk about what little experience we have with this game. I'm gonna go run and grab a drink, so I'll knock mine out quickly if that's okay with you.
Glug, glug.
I'll go first.
I talked about it a little bit earlier. Back when I bought myself a PlayStation 2 and bought all the games, I did play Final Fantasy X. I did try to play this. I did not get into it. That's it. I really have only played a few minutes of the game, and I'm excited to dive in and talk about Dress Spheres. Jim.
I had heard of this game, but I had never played it. And what I had seen of it, it just didn't seem like it was for me. And so I skipped it. And then when we started doing this podcast, everyone was like, 10-2 is so good. You got to play 10-2. And it made me want to play it, and we talked about playing it, and I voiced my support even though I secretly didn't want to. But now that we have, because our listeners voted for it, and I've played it, I like it a lot. So I was wrong. Vanessa, what's your experience with this game?
I also played some, but not all of it. I think that I got myself into a little bit of a corner because I was more interested in unlocking new dress spheres and dressing up all the time than I was in really putting growth into the ones I had to have a solid foundation. So I am looking forward to playing it here. I'm not using a guide, which may be a mistake, but since everyone has a lot of free time now, I'm thinking I'll just spend a whole bunch of time grinding and listening to podcasts, and then it won't matter.
I like your attitude.
Thanks. John, what about you?
I have played this game. Well, I hadn't finished Final Fantasy X until we finished it together on the podcast. So I felt a bit bad about starting 10-2, but it just looked really neat. I like job systems and I like the dress spheres and everything. So I did play it for a bit. I got to, I think, chapter 3, and I didn't realize that you were supposed to do more than the hot spots. So I got way underleveled and kind of stuck. So I gave up pretty fast on that game. So that is my Final Fantasy X-2 experience. And that's everybody.
That's it. Let's get into it. What should we call this?
Well, what are the spheres called? It's like,
The dress sphere.
The dress sphere.
No, the
log?
ones
The sphere grid.
I kind of like the sphere grid, but isn't there something about the spheres that have story stuff? Like they're called something special, or like the ones that are videos.
Treasure Sphere?
The Sphere Chronicles.
Hold on.
You do see a guy with a Sphere camera, a Sphere
Mhm.
recorder. The Sphere Record. That's what this should be called.
What can I do for you?
Ooh, did you guys know, just to tie the last game and this game together, did you guys know there's a fan theory that actually has an Easter egg in the remake that Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VII take place in the same universe on the same planet?
What?
Yeah, and that
And
Final
that planet is
Fantasy...
Earth because of the
Well,
cutscene.
yeah. Final Fantasy X takes place way, way in the past.
What?
And yeah, and that there is, well, maybe it's in the future. And in the remake, there's an Easter egg in the Shinra building where you can look at a picture that shows like one of the first Mako reactors, and it's got a picture of one of the workers wearing a face mask similar to what the Albed wear in Final Fantasy X.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So does 10 then take place... 10's in the past. 7 takes place before Lady Unalesca does her thing?
I think it's in the future, actually. So I think that Final Fantasy X takes place in the future, Final Fantasy VII in the past.
I've seen it the other way around, where Final Fantasy X is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which is also...
I think that's the same thing that Jim just said.
Oh, no, it's the opposite.
I said it both ways.
Yeah.
So, here's what I think. First, we have Yuna... No, wait. You're right. No, it would have to be the future. Because if the growth from 7 continues, then we get to Xanarkand, which is, more advanced than Midgar. Then that's all wiped out, and then comes 10.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I get
Makes
it.
sense.
Yeah.
But then
You could
why
also have-
in 7 would there be someone... I guess the mask is a prerequisite to what the Albed
Maybe
wear
like a
later?
prototype.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
It
Final
all makes
Fantasy
sense.
X Part 2, this game is set on Earth, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
And Spirits Within is a distant prequel to this game. Because as
Wait,
we know...
maybe instead of spirits within, it's spiras within.
Ooh.
Oh,
Or-
solved
or-
it.
Spirits within.
Oh, hey.
Our fans really like it when we have this conversation.
They do.
Instead of Advent children, it's Albed children.
So let's start with a little prequel called Eternal Calm, which
Oh
was
no, I
added-
forgot to watch it.
added to the international version of Final Fantasy X at the end, and also, which is like the re-release in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and is on the Final Fantasy X 10-2 compilation, and was released with like US PlayStation magazines on their demo disc before 10-2 came out.
I remember that. So hold on. So this was canonic. So chronologically, this came after 10, but how long before 10-2?
It was released like a few months before 10-2 came out.
Oh, okay. So it
In-
wasn't like a coda to 10. It was planned as I don't know. What's a pre-coda? A pre-coda to 10-2.
An interquel?
An interquel.
Yeah.
It was an epilogue to 10.
It does
But
with a sequel hook. It does have your sequel
It essentially is the post-credits scene.
hook.
It's like a warm open for Final Fantasy
Will
10
somebody
too.
describe it to me already?
All
You
right.
just did.
So, it starts off with Yuna coming out of the it says she's coming out of the water, but you don't see her because there is no new graphics or animation in this. There's only new voice acting. It looks like a machinima, so it's like everything is like recycled animation and locations. But it starts with Yuna on the beach in Besaid, and she is talking to Waka. She's been with her like And this is a theme throughout all of X2, her Carrie Bradshaw voiceover.
Mm-hmm. And Walker is so fat, you guys.
Oh,
They make
She's
a comment about how he's
huge.
chubby.
she does say that, but it's the same model from 10.
Yes,
And
he
he's
has
still got that-
visible abs.
He does
Yeah.
have visible abs, but she does make fun of him for gaining weight, even though it's Lulu who is pregnant, as they reveal in this voiceover. And so Carrie Bradshaw / Yuna's like, in a city like Besaid, where anything is possible, can a woman really hold her breath for 2.5 minutes? Because she is practicing her diving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is.
And she's very proud of herself that she has reached the physical state of conditioning that she can stay down that long. And Waka's like, yeah, you're doing a great job. And then it does. She has some more voiceover about there's the Youth League and New Yevon, which are two political factions that rose up after the Eternal Calm, which is
Uh-oh.
the calm after Sin has disappeared, because the Church of Yevon was basically destroyed by Yuna. So
Yeah.
there's
Right.
New Yevon, which is like a like progressive Yevon, but also still kind of conservative and reaching back to the old ways. But there's also old Yevon. No, there's also the Youth League, which is young people who want nothing to do with Yevon and want to like embrace Machina and all that.
Machina.
Machina. Sorry. And they're all
That's
both
right.
really excited to get not only get an endorsement for Yuna, but also marry Yuna off to somebody.
Oh, that's nice.
I do. That's
That's
one
a
thing
nice
I appreciate
reward
about
for
this
her
is that,
work.
well, like they mentioned Yuna like talking to the Nuge, and he's like, and she's like, no, all these people are just gonna try to use me for their
Mhm.
own gain, and so she's like, I'm just not gonna deal with any of it.
They really
I-
want
I
her
think-
to have children, too, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you get a little glimpse of Nuge in this chunker, and he looks like bad news.
I can't stress what a fucking terrible name that is. Nuge. Nooj. Nuge.
Although I could see, other than his hair, I could see Nuge being a Vanessa boyfriend.
Yeah,
Really?
the hair spoils it, though.
Nuge is short for Nugent.
Because he's like smart and kind of evil and has glasses.
Oh, keep talking.
And he's like real ripped. He
Ooh.
does have a robotic leg.
Whoa,
That's
he has
okay.
a robo leg?
Yeah, well, he's disabled. I mean, he's got a missing limb, so he has prosthetic.
He's got auto mail.
Well, he's got that cane.
Yeah, that's why he's got the cane and the.
His cane looks like the Riddler's cane. It's like a question mark.
Uh-huh.
Y'all, you are describing a man I am very interested in.
But then
Oh,
there's his
boy.
dreadlocks.
Oh, no.
That is a weird. He has a weird dreadlock situation going on. His hair also defies the laws of physics and good taste.
I don't
Didn't
want
post
to-
a picture of him in the group earlier.
Yeah, John
Yeah,
did.
I didn't want to spoil. There's a level up we have on our Patreon where we
He
talk
doesn't
about
have
the
dreadlocks. Oh,
the worst. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he def does.
only got,
The
like,
worst
one.
JRPG haircuts, and I was maintaining that Final Fantasy 11 or Dragon Quest 11's main character has the worst haircut, but Vanessa came out there. Her final destructive throw was Nuge, and
Mhm.
Vanessa very much won that.
Wiped
debate.
the floor with everyone else because Nuge's hair is awful. And these aren't
real
like
bad.
nice, neat, kept dreadlocks, which are totally fine on some people. Not on everyone. You know what I'm talking about. And but these are like floor length dreads.
Mhm.
Is
But
it
it's like
it's worse than Seymour just because he has dreads?
It's like he's got a
Seymour's hair is
dreadlock.
wonderful.
Oh no! It's like he's got a dreadlock that turns into a ponytail that is 6 feet long.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's more of a bangs. He's got real long bangs. Like real long bang. Anyway, we'll talk about Nuge when we meet him. But people are wanting Yuna to hang out with Nuge. She's like, nah. And then Riku's like, hey, come meet me. I've got a sphere that you need to see. Now, if you remember from 10, spheres could actually record video of things that happened. And Riku has found an ancient sphere that seems to have a special person in it. You get a little cutscene of it, and it looks like an angry Titus.
It looks, I mean, Titus is character model. I mean, it's fuzzy in here, but it looks like a clip from Silent Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look angry to me. He looks like, I don't know, like upset. He looks distraught.
He's like yelling. He's like, I want to see the summoner. Well, if this was your girl, what would you do? And he's
like,
mad
of course
about
I
it.
used the weapon. And he's in a little cage. Did we say that?
Despite all his rage, Titus is
I
still
didn't realize
just
you could
a
understand
rat
his
in the
dialogue.
cage.
You can in the interim film, but not in the game proper.
Ah, got it.
Mhm.
Thank you. Got it.
Right. And this inspires Riku and Yuna to team up on an adventure. And that is the end of Eternal Calm. Also, they're on Riku's boat from the beginning of 10 for some reason.
Oh, right, yeah.
I should have watched
Yuna
this.
says something to Riku about, like, oh, you're just traveling the world teaching people how to use these machines. And then now I guess they're buds, and they're going to go try to find the mystery behind this sphere together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they
But
are
they-
cousins, remember?
They are.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, her dad is Sid, and Sid is Yuna's uncle.
Wait, so if they're
Oh, yeah.
cousins, and is brother Riku's brother?
Brother is Riku's brother
Mhm.
and Yuna's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So his obsession with
Oh, wow, it's
with
even
her
more-
is weird.
Yeah, it's even worse than I thought it was.
John, I will never understand why you love brother.
I hate Brother.
It's a great
I
question.
hate him.
Always.
I
tell me
hate
why you
him.
love brother.
You literally talk about how much you love him all
No,
the time.
he is the worst. He's fallen out of like the worst. What's the name of that horrible show where people do stunts?
Jackass?
Jackass, yeah. He's like the worst Jackass reject. He's like Bam Margera's dumb brother.
Okay,
He
but
does
you
look like
have
a dude from
talked
Jackass.
about your crush on the guy from Jackass many times.
No, the dad of the guy from Jackass. That's very different. Anyway, moving on. So how does this game open?
With the coolest in-game concert since like Travis Scott performed on Fortnite a few nights ago.
This is incredible. I think I don't know. There are no words to talk about the amazing J-pop experience of Yuna walking out on this stage. This amazing floating stage with like a Buddha drummer machine. And it starts opening with her yelling out, "What can I do for you?" And then the lights turn on, and she's got dancers. And meanwhile,
Multiple outfit changes. Very
there,
important.
there's
In
someone
any pop concert. This
As
is actually
this-
very forward-looking.
As this occurs, you do get a cut to mysterious women in the crowd of the concert saying, "YRP in position."
Can I tell you guys something? A couple nights ago, when Travis Scott did that Fortnite concert,
You
I got multiple text messages from executives at my company that were like, how can we make sure the next time there's a Fortnite concert that they're wearing?
Now, here's the thing: if you actually read, if your employers actually read the profit earnings call from Microsoft, they actually lost money year over year because Fortnite earnings are super down. It is a bad
They are
time.
super down.
It is a bad time to hop on that Fortnite train. That train
That's what I
is
told
leaving
them.
the station.
Because, like, yeah, there are a lot of reasons. Like, Fortnite, they're, like, putting Louis Vuitton stuff in-game. Like, they've jumped the shark pretty much.
Someone did post a meme of Fortnite. There's like saying Call of Duty and it's all the Expendables together, and then it's like and Fortnite it's just like J-pop girls cosplay J-pop girls standing and posing. I'm like, oh, I'd rather play Fortnite in this in this situation. I know they're trying to make fun of Fortnite, but that looks way cooler.
Anyways,
Speaking of J-pop girls, so the concert is amazing. The crowd loves Yuna, and so she can sing, she can dance, she can summon. She is a triple threat.
Mm-hmm. But then her show is rudely interrupted.
What happens?
Well, her cousin Riku jumps on stage, and she's got an off-brand Lulu with her.
Yeah, so P doesn't stand for Plulu. There is this weird fake Lulu. They already have a Lulu in the series. I don't know why they needed fake Lulu, but she's there.
I really wished it would have been Lulu.
This is the child of Lulu and Auron. Please be respectful
I
of
can
my
see that.
wife's daughter.
But isn't it weird that they have a very Lulu-like character? I mean, she's a bit different, but she has the same cadence. And same fashion sense.
Well, Lulu is pregnant, so she can't go on this adventure.
I guess.
I mean, why do we think they replaced Lulu?
Is it like a Jan from the Brady Bunch when they went to the variety show and she asked for too much money, so they wrote her off and replaced her with a new Jan?
I'm going to be honest with you. This is what turned me off from Final Fantasy X Part 2 the first time I played it. When I realized that we had an off-brand Lulu, I was like, you know what? I was here for Lulu.
And they really want you to be invested in Pain for some reason. Everyone's like, no, Pain is super cool. Why is she here? Oh, don't worry about it.
And her name is Pain. How cool is that?
Love Pain. She's my favorite character in this game so far. Listen, once I got over, going in again, not expecting, knowing that it wasn't going to be Lulu, I was much more prepared for Pain, and I love her. What do you mean, why? It's Lulu meets Auron. What's not to like? So my two favorite characters from Final Fantasy X had a child, and she's amazing.
And they sent her to the Fire Emblem dimension so that she could be aged up and married off.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. No, not married off. She's got cool, like, short hair. She's got an awesome giant sword. She does that Auron thing where she always stands with her back to him. And then she give him a big old stabby, and I like it a lot. You know what? Final Fantasy creators, you figured me out. If you make whatever character you know I'm not going to like the fucking best tank in the game, I'm going to like them plenty.
And we'll get into the job system in a little bit, but one thing I do like is if you choose the warrior class, each one of them has a different Titus sword.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That is pretty
Yuna
cool.
has Titus's like original water sword.
Oh, she does? I don't think I've put her as a warrior yet.
Yeah, all
like
of them
that
are
kind of class.
different Titus swords, and it's really cool. I think that's a neat detail. Anyway, so why are Yuna, Riku, and Pain fighting?
Well, Riku demands that Yuna give something back, and Yuna's like, ha 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 ha, no way. Then they have a little fight, and then Yuna's like, Yuna out, and she runs away.
You do have to fight her backup dancers.
Yes, you fight her backup dancers, and then you fight her.
Mm-hmm. And she runs away, and the chase is on. Do 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 do.
I had no idea what the fuck was going on at the beginning of this.
No,
game.
I still kind of don't.
So she's like a shapeshifter.
You follow her around. So this is in Luca, the second floor. And you start chasing her around the outside of Luca. This is where you realize these are all going to be locations from Final Fantasy X reused.
Yep, it's where that big game was against the who's.
The Luca goers.
Those are the ones.
I think you chased somebody through these hallways or ran from somebody while you had to fight robots.
Yeah, and Kim, I think you were like Kamari was there or something. I don't
Seymour
remember.
was around.
Probably.
So it's not just
So-
like a different version of the same areas. It's legitimately just straight up those levels copied into this game.
They do make some changes in later ones, but this is definitely the same level. So you pursue her and corner her, and Yuna's got these two. You corner her, and Yuna's got these two buddies who are called Logos and Ormi.
Ormi is a John husband.
Yeah, or a John.
These guys I'm gonna say it, they're poorly written characters.
They-
They're kind of like the classic like Bullwinkle like Stooges, where they're like, oh no, the boss is gonna be really mad at me.
Well, that's Ormi. Logos is more like this. Oh, my
Yeah.
boyfriend.
That's
Ormi.
right. He's the smarmy one, and the other one is the big lug.
Yeah, Logos
Yeah,
and
he
Ormi
is.
would make a great couples cosplay for Jim and John.
Right. We aren't a
True.
couple.
They
though.
sound like
You are aware of
like
that, right?
Dark Souls bosses.
I am aware that you aren't a couple. I meant a couple of friends.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of buds, just men's being friends.
Yeah, exactly. Lesbian friends. Speaking of, so you fight Logos and Ormi. The one's got a big shield, and one's like is he a mage? Logos, the tall.
No, he's got guns.
He's got guns. Okay, you fight those bad boys. This will not be your last fight against them, and eventually you meet up with Yuna. And this fight is joined by the real Yuna.
Whoa!
You're like, whoa, Yuna! Why is Yuna fighting Yuna?
And
I
Yuna
see
like
double 4 Yunas.
and Yuna dives in with a gun. She has traded
Two
in
guns.
her summoning staff for guns, and they they'll do this often. They'll pose in like a Charlie's Angels pose when they all get together.
I love it when they do that.
I especially like at the end of this chunker where they do it, and Don was like, "What are you doing?" That really made me laugh. But yeah, they pose in a Charlie's Angels pose and then fight fake Yuna. So the one putting on the concert wasn't real Yuna.
Yeah, she's a appropriated Yuna's image.
Mm-hmm. She has stolen what is called her garment grid, which is the basis of the job system in Final Fantasy X too. And Johnny loves him a job system. How do you all feel about job systems?
Matthew loves him a job system. This one is confusing, and I would really like to take some time tonight to get into Johnny's tutorial corner. Can you explain in detail what this is and how we're supposed to use it?
With the dress sphere?
Maybe just the
garment
whole
grid?
game actually would be great, because Matthew's having a lot of problems.
Well, you can add, each garment grid has different bonuses, but when you switch between classes, it can put like a buff on or do an attack against enemies if you use them in combat.
So
Also, certain accessories will give you access to spells or abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
some garment grids have red and blue keys. What are they called?
Spheres?
Gates. Some garment grids have red and blue gates, and I don't know what those do.
So if you change, so say you have that red gate, and that red gate says it's Fyra, right? So if you change between that class and the other class, it'll cast Fyra on the enemies when you change. Or it'll give you like strength +5 or whatever. So you want to like have them between classes that you use a lot. But there's another part
For the
to
listeners, we should say that the garment grid is like your closet, and each job is an outfit. So you have a closet with a limited number of outfits, and if you hang up your warrior outfit next to your black mage outfit, when you get changed, you can activate these bonuses, and you can change in the middle of battle.
which takes the form of maybe a little bit too long, but an amazing Sailor Moon style transformation scene where your old outfit like dissolves into polygons and revealing your new outfit, and you like do a sexy pose at the end.
Mhm.
I am all for it.
I already turned this off because it's neat and I like it, but I don't need to watch it over and over.
If you turn it off, it will show
Yes,
one you've never seen before.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's fine.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you will get to watch the new transformations. There's another thing with the garment grids. If you get
Hang
a
on. The nude transformations?
new.
What's
If you
the
get,
special code I have to input to make that happen? Up,
I-
up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
I'm sure if you go on X-2 or
Nudality.
Pornhub and look up like Una renders, there'll be something.
Well, Jim said that his uncle at Nintendo told him that nudalities are available in this game.
Oh.
That's true. He worked on this game. You know what? That's actually funny you bring that up because one of the things that Jalen always tells me when we talk about Kingdom Hearts is that when we were waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out, she's like, my friend, I think his name was like, she's like, my friend in my class says that his dad works for the company that makes Kingdom Hearts, and it's gonna have like all this stuff in it. And I was like, I don't think your friend being truthful. with
Wow,
you.
harsh call out on the show.
Yeah.
Suck
He's a child,
If
Jim.
you're in Texas and you see a 9-year-old named tell him he's a fucking liar.
yeah, punch that kid in the head.
Matt, can you bleep out
Whoa.
his name?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not that many in Texas.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And we don't want to encourage children being bullied, even if they're lying about their dads working at Nintendo.
Well, lying about your dad working at Nintendo is like a rite of passage. You have to.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was so funny that like that's still a thing that kids will make up, that their parents work for video game companies and they have the inside like scoop on video game stuff. That's so funny to me.
It's pretty amazing.
So, you beat up this new lady, fake Una, and she does drop the sphere grid, or the garment grid, revealing her actual look, which is a pretty good look. I think she should have gone. It's a strong look.
Yeah, she's like a busty Valentine.
Apparently, having a garment grid does not just change your clothes. Having a garment grid literally turns you into another person.
Yeah, so you really want to keep your garment grid in a safe place because you do not want other people assuming your form. So let's
That's
talk
weird
about...
because we're going to go through about 1,000 garment grids throughout the course of this game. So what happens to all the Una garment grids that she doesn't use anymore? Do other people take them and like get to play Una?
I don't
guess
understand how the
so.
garment grids work. So these are like
Holograms.
materia that they equip on like their belts.
I just
They're-
explained.
Give them different outfits.
The garment
Yeah.
grids are a little closet, and the jobs are outfits.
Mm-hmm. But why did they make you look like the person if you steal one?
Well, like if you stole my clothes and dressed up in them, people would think you were me.
Now
I
let's...
guess if you wore an entire Vanessa outfit, people would be like, "Why are you trying to dress like Vanessa?"
That's true. Can we talk about real fast LeBlanc and her design?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that her name? I thought it was Tits McGee.
It is not.
Is that Tits McGee?
That's Tits McGee for sure. LeBlanc is the one in the red dress with like no, to the point that I was playing this and one of my kids walked into the room, the 8-year-old, and was like, that's a lot of skin.
Have you ever played like a game in public, like on your PSP or whatever, and been like, "Oh, I don't want other people seeing me play this."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All games
Yeah.
that I could potentially play in public, I don't want people to see me play. That's why I don't get the real use out of the Switch that most people do. Because even like Zelda, I'm like, nobody needs to know that I do this.
I was playing Valkyria Chronicles 2, and one of the teen girls has those enormous breasts that really pandery anime gives women sometimes. Like
Tits, we call them.
They are a lot larger than that. But LeBlanc, let's talk about LeBlanc's outfit. She's got a robe that's also kind of a bikini.
Yeah, it's like a robe. She has not cinched it up tight. It's just kind of hanging off her shoulders.
Is it? I thought it was like so form-fitting that it was basically painted on.
It does look painted on.
Yeah.
It's
Good
got
call,
like
Matt.
a
It's
cutout.
like she's wearing a painted on dress with like a weird fan collar.
But what I like about the robe is it goes down to on one side to her shoes, but
I like that.
on the
too.
other side kind of like links up in a bikini way with a big cutout portion so you can see like her right thigh.
See your hip. Yeah. I like, you know what? I'm going to go on the record with saying that no matter what the outfit is or the gender, I'm a fan of the oversized sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
She's got oversized sleeves. I like the oversized sleeves. I think it's a nice accent. to
She
any
does
outfit.
have one pant leg as well.
Yeah,
And that's
well,
why-
I think she's got them in like if you look at her image, she's got that pant leg on both sides. Just one of them is covered by the robe.
Mm-hmm.
They're like thigh-high stockings with like a blue. They're her whole outfit's like a purpley pink, and with like blue sigils on it and lots of webbing or what do you call it? Latticing.
You can see the tippy top of her underwear because she has not really closed up the front of her robe at all. And she has a sternum tattoo of a heart.
Would you call this a very deep V?
It's an extremely deep V. If it was any deeper, it would not be a V at all because it would
It's
just
more
be...
of a Y.
Yeah,
And
as
she's
in
got-
why is she wearing that?
I don't know what they're called, but they're hairpins, I guess, like a
Like
sort
hair
of Chinese.
chopstick kind of thing.
They're like chopsticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, those hairpins. She's got tied up her hair in the back.
Is that what those are called? They're chopsticks?
I think they're called hairpins.
I think hairpins are a lot smaller, aren't they? But they are
I think they're
definitely...
just called hair sticks. Yeah, they're just called hair sticks.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia.
And she's got a bladed fan as her primary weapon, along with dark purple gloves.
Yeah.
All in all, I give this outfit an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, a very wide collar with some tassels. If Jareth from Labyrinth had been a woman, I think he would have worn this.
It's true. I could definitely see you doing fushigi balling in this.
John, they call.
I
wait,
agree, guys.
Is the
10
fushigi
out
ball
of
the
10
same as a
would
contact
bang.
juggle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's like the brand name for those balls.
Contact. Oh, fushigi.
Can someone take over for a second?
Sure.
Yeah.
Fushigi juggling was popularized by someone named Mike, and he knew Penn Jillette. They were roommates.
I remember. I've listened to like Penn Jillette talk about contact juggling at length before. Maybe it was on a podcast. Maybe it was in a documentary, but it was too much.
Yeah, his friend, I forget his name, like Magic Mike.
Michael Motion.
Michael Motion, that's the one.
Mhm.
Who won a MacArthur Genius Grant for his contact juggling abilities.
It's actually pretty cool.
I mean,
How
yeah.
are we talking about juggling and not getting as quickly as possible to John's favorite character in the game, Brother? It's crazy how much he loves Brother, but won't admit to it on the show, right?
That's true.
Now that he's gone,
not
the
here.
three of us can agree.
Yeah, he's been sending us like brother memes and like.
Oh yeah,
Do you think that brother would like me? Who would
He
play
sent
brother in the movie version?
he sent a picture of Brother where he had used stickers or whatever and put hearts all around Brother's head. Anyway, he's back. Hey,
Okay.
So yep, we fight LeBlanc, and Yuna shows up, and so I
Contact
guess
juggling.
it turns out that the woman that was having the concert was not Yuna. It was this LeBlanc lady, and you know what? I get it, LeBlanc. Like, you're a star. You have an amazing voice. This choreography's fantastic, and you just can't get a shot, so you decide, screw it, I'll pretend to be Yuna. But the girls, our Yevon's angels don't agree, and they beat her until she gives up the garment grid.
That's exactly what happened with like Billie Eilish and that lady who was pretending to be Billie Eilish on Instagram.
What?
Sure. The thing about Yuna, though, is that she is famous for having saved the world. Like, she's the most famous and beloved person on this entire planet.
She's
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, so it's like if Barack Obama gave a pop concert, you know? Like, everyone's losing their minds.
Yeah. So does
Not,
that
though.
mean that
It's
there's
like if Superman
there's
gave
like
a pop
a-
concert.
there's
Yeah.
deep conservative Yevonites being like, ugh, look at Yuna. This is so
Mhm.
You
unsummonedential.
meet one on Luca.
But somehow the actual Yuna had no recourse to prevent this from happening except to show up and rob her. I mean,
what's she
maybe
gonna take her to
Yeah.
federal
It's-
court?
well-
Like, what's she gonna take her to court or something? Like, there's
We'll
no.
talk about that at the end of the chunker.
All right.
It's weird that the doppelganger got to the show first.
Yeah. So after we get the Garmin grid back and they go out east.
Well,
they
hang on a second. I want to address what Jim just said.
Yeah, me too. Because if you're thinking what I'm thinking, I do not think that Jim is on the right track. Jim,
What?
do you believe that this concert was set up by the real Yuna?
I think that like she was booked to go to the concert. That's how concerts work, guys. It wasn't like an impromptu thing.
I don't think so.
She was scheduled to be there.
No, I think LeBlanc stole the garment grid and was scheduled to be there. I think Yuna has been sphere hunting with her pals.
Wait, so you think that LeBlanc, in a nefarious scheme, decided to one up Yuna not by grabbing spheres before her, but by putting on a concert
Yeah.
that Yuna would not have had any interest in doing like outside of this?
Well, I think she's trying to steal Yuna's identity, Jim.
That doesn't make
I don't know
any
what
sense, guys.
one-upmanship has to
It
do
doesn't
with
make
it.
any sense that Yuna herself
No.
would want to put on a pop concert.
Nope.
No, I got the impression that Yuna was capitalizing on her celebrity by becoming a pop star, and that she was just like usurped in this performance by LeBlanc, who just got there first and stole her identity, took her
So,
spot in the
do-
green room.
Just
Is
to be
what-
clear,
went on
the
stage.
game does not imply that in any way, shape, or form.
So what Matt and Vanessa are saying is that LeBlanc like did all the promotion,
Yes.
did the practice, got
Exactly.
the backup
LeBlanc-
dancers.
LeBlanc recorded a demo,
Yeah.
submitted it to these concert promoters, and they booked her in the biggest concert venue in Spira.
Well,
And it's
I don't
sold
think
out.
that
And it's
anything
sold
that
out.
you
And
just
it's
said
sold
is
out.
how any of it would have worked. I think that Yuna showed up and said, I want to have a I think LeBlanc is Yuna showed up and said, I want to have a concert, and that they put it on, and everybody in town came, because this is not a world that is that
everybody in
interconnected.
town, everybody on the planet came to this concert.
No, it's the place. It's the same place where they have the blitzball tournaments that has a population to support its arena. That's how arenas work.
They don't even
Jim.
play blitzball anymore. They
now we're
play,
talking about city planning. All right, you know,
They're playing. What's it called? Sphere coins or what's it called? Coin break, sphere
But
break.
it's in a blitzball arena.
No one plays blitzball anymore.
Well, no, they do play
Blitz.
blitzball, but right now it's the off
we're in
season.
the off season right now, John.
So, yes, just like with any other concert venue, you fill it up with concerts and bullshit when your sports teams aren't playing.
Right. Okay. So we head back to the
Hang
airship.
on. I need to know what side of this fucking coin John lands on.
yeah, John, what do you think?
I'm with Jim on it.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
yeah, thank you, thank you,
What's
John.
wrong with you?
Here's what's gonna tell us. Is there going to be any other reference to a Yuna concert other than this one Yuna concert? Is she going to have a concert later? You know, because if real Yuna has a concert of her own later on, then I guess y'all are probably right. But if this is the only time Yuna has a concert,
I think chapter 2 starts with a dance off.
Yeah, but listen, when she gets the dancer sphere, which happens in this battle with LeBlanc, she switches to dancer and she starts dancing and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. What is this? This has never happened to me. Never have I ever done a pop star dance before.
Well, I mean, I don't know why she would. Most people have danced in their lives, Vanessa. Get out of your house.
No, I'm saying that if she was a pop star who was touring, she would have done this dancing before.
Not necessarily. I mean, guys, she's a singer first and foremost, not a performer.
So the important thing to note here is that LeBlanc wrote this song.
LeBlanc wrote this song.
That's right. This is LeBlanc's song, sung by LeBlanc.
What's the song about?
What can I do?
What can I do for you?
Emotion.
Yeah, dude, that's about summoning. She was a summoner. She was a public servant. Yuna wrote that song.
I think Jim has
This
a
is the
compelling
stupidest
point,
episode we've ever
but we really need to move on here. So we'll have
No,
to.
I
we'll
don't
have to-
think so. I demand a trial.
We can schedule it for next episode.
I really want to know what our listeners think about this because I had not even considered Yuna's identity being stolen and her career as a pop
I
singer.
had not
being
even
totally
considered
fraudulent.
her being a pop singer.
Yeah, she's a sphere hunter. That's her job.
Yeah.
The game has told us what she does. She's a sphere hunter. At no point has the game said Yuna is a pop star.
But she's also a big time celebrity.
Jesus doesn't hold pop concerts, Jim.
Well, listen,
Kim
but you-
Kardashian does, dude.
Yeah,
The
and so
Kardashians
does the
do.
Countess from Real Housewives. I'm saying this is
Neither
within the
of
realm
them
of
saved
possibility.
the world from a
Furs,
monster.
Furs, diamonds, furs,
Well,
luxury and furs. Money
In
can't
your
buy you
opinion,
class.
dude.
My loves, money can't buy you class.
All right, so the airship Celsius. This is where you get introduced to who the Charlie is.
Fuck
And it's-
me. I'm looking at the runtime and I'm looking at where we're at on the notes, and I am
Oh,
not
Lord.
happy.
I've been trying to
just
move us
started.
forward for the past 15 minutes.
Yes, you have.
And it turns out the Charlie in this Charlie's Angels, for some reason they do not explain, is fucking brother.
Oh,
John's
okay.
favorite character, brother.
It's fucking brother. Okay, John.
He's the worst. He is the worst.
Well,
He's
you
like,
know what, John? He is the worst.
yeah.
Yeah, he really is.
What if
But
Zell
John
had a
can't
more
even-
annoying brother?
Mhm. John can't even say his name without putting a crude reference to sex in it.
Yeah, John winks every time he says it
He
because
trembled from head to toe like an
He's not
anime
even
character.
my type. He's like a little twink with tattoos. and
John's wearing a
mohawk.
brother T-shirt right now.
I
John,
am
your
not.
nose is bleeding.
I am wearing a Tracer t-shirt. Thank you very much.
You've never even
Uh,
played Overwatch.
So there's also another guy named Buddy who is new. He says he was around last time in one of those like retcon things of like, oh yeah, I was there like throughout your whole adventure. We were good buddies. That's
yeah,
why my
the
name's
developer
Buddy.
has recycled a character model that we used a few times in the last game, and so I'm a character now.
Mhm. And there's a brand new. Well, I don't know. Actually, I think they recycled this character model too. There's another character called Shinra.
He's like a little genius boy.
Yeah, he's like that friend of Kim Possible, the fat kid who likes food.
But he's also a bubble
Or
boy. He
he's
lives
like
in like a
the-
little bubble.
Are you
He's
talking
the
about
Asian
Ron
kid from
Stoppable?
the Goonies.
No, not Ron Stoppable, the one who's always at the desk.
I don't know. I've never seen the show. I just somehow know
I've
the
only-
name
Ron
Ron
Deskable.
Stoppable. It's ridiculous. How do I know these things? I have never watched Kim Possible, and yet I
Guys,
know the name of Ron Stoppable, and I know he has a hamster.
He does.
Ron Stoppable, voiced by the same dude who played the dumb brother in Boy Meets World.
It's a mole. It's a naked mole rat. It's not a hamster.
Oh shit. So anyway, Shinra is definitely the founder of the Shinra Corporation. This is his origin
Oh,
story.
for sure. Wait, didn't you tell us earlier that this had to be a sequel to Final Fantasy VII?
That was Jim. So Shinra
What did I
is
say?
the know-it-all kid at the computer. He can but if you ask him, don't ask him about like capturing monsters because that is a literal 15-minute conversation.
He's the Asian kid from the Goonies. What's that kid's name?
Data.
Data. Yes, thank you.
And
What?
I think I liked him better. Wasn't that also Short Round? Was Data
He was
also
short round also, yes.
Yeah. So, the 80s was a rough time for Asian
Vanessa, why are you
representation.
growling at us?
I'm growling about Asian representation in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a valid critique.
So Shinra's the one who can play all your spheres. He can teach you all the different systems in the game. And that's
I guess I
Shinra.
should have talked to him more because I have been just
don't.
baffled on the fucking
His
like,
tutorials take 10 minutes each.
Are they? I'm figuring
Yeah,
it
dude,
out
they're
as I
so
go
long.
along for the most part, but like a lot of it, I am just very confused on.
I was like, oh, he's going to explain the dress grid or whatever. And then like 17 minutes later,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can finally play the game again.
Yeah, just don't. I would just look it up because I
Yeah.
find his explanations don't help.
I'm sure there's a
Unfortunately.
Like,
nice good
he's-
guide out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are much better
I got the
explanations
Brady
for
Games
this.
guide, but it's for both. It's for 10.10.2 remake, and it's long.
This is
Very
the
long.
worst kind of long tutorial where like you can't even button mash your way through it. It's like, oh, click on this menu option and you have to scroll down 7 options like down below. It sucks.
This game this is the type
Yeah.
of game where you can skip cutscenes, but most cutscenes aren't cutscenes; they're in-game cutscenes. So you can't.
You actually
skip
can.
them.
You can skip the tutorials if you get stuck in a tutorial you don't want to watch. You can skip them. So the final part of the what do you call that? The what's this called? The pre something. Because this isn't chapter 1. This is still the I forget the word. Prologue.
Yes.
Fuck me.
At the end of the we can stop at the end of the prologue if you want.
No, let's just
Okay.
do it.
Okay, so you get a sphere grid. Like they pick up a trace of a sphere thing on the ship, and it's over in Mount Gagazet.
Did you explain? Because at this point they explain what we're doing.
Yeah, Yuna's decided, like, ever since she saved the world and her boyfriend turned out to be a ghost, or imaginary, she decided to become
That
a
happened to me,
sphere
too.
hunter. It was and she's teamed up, like, and she does the Carrie Bradshaw introduction of all her friends. Like Riku is her like gadget girl that she's known, and then Pain showed up and wanted to be a sphere hunter too, and that's all they do to introduce Pain. It's like, yeah, she
And
wanted to
also
tag
pain.
What they don't do here is explain what a sphere hunter is or what any of this means.
Well, they're called the Gull Wings, and for some reason, Brother is giving Yuna orders, and he should not be because he is not qualified, and mostly just spends all his cutscenes writhing and screaming about Yuna.
Yeah, he's real cringy about Yuna to the point that it's a bit tough to even like read through his dialogue. Like every time Brother is either on screen or talking to you via, radio or whatever, he is like orgasming over Yuna, his cousin.
Yeah,
It's
he can't
not
even talk.
good.
He's so distracted by his hot cousin that he's like, "Oh, Yuna! What is it, brother? Yuna!"
And so he's also that guy that like, is into somebody but just can't admit it, which is also not a good. That's not a good look.
Well, one thing I do like is that everybody is into Yuna. There's like 3 guys hitting on her in just the first chapter.
I mean, it's reasonable.
True.
She's a very attractive woman. She is literally Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys notice that she has the eject symbol on the front of her?
Oh, is
outfit?
that what that is? I recognized it, Jim, and I was like, wait, what is that?
She like sewed it into her outfit.
Oh, that's
yeah, that's
cool.
eject symbol.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
so
assume-
it
it's
was a really cool callback.
Yeah. I assume
Really
everyone knows
noticeable.
about Titus too, because he was also famous. Like, not
Well, but
only
was
did he
he?
help save the world as one of her guardians, but he also became like the #1 blitzball player in the whole world.
Yeah.
That's
he
a good
helped the
point.
Besaid Aurochs realize that maybe they should think about winning a game for once in their lives.
And then they immediately won the fucking finals.
Yeah. I mean, not in my playthrough.
They
but in
basically
Vanessa's.
immediately won the World Cup. It was like the worst soccer team in Europe, and then they're like, maybe if we tried to win, and then boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because people
For
knew
more
who
on that-
Oron and Jecht were, because they were the guardians of like the last summoner to bring the calm.
It's true. That is true.
Oh.
So yeah, I think all like Kamari and the whole gang are famous now. So Mount Gagazet is where the next sphere is. So you get plopped down. So basically, this is getting towards Zanarkand, and all these new ruins have been revealed because the fog around Mount Gagazet has lifted, and this is a new ruin that everyone is racing towards, including LeBlanc and her cronies.
That would be a great time for Matthew to bring up. I'm having a tough time with this game, and this is where it really comes into focus is Mount Gagazet. So one I think we've mentioned but haven't really talked about much is that suddenly the game tells you that you can jump.
But not well.
No,
You have to like
and
always be walking towards the ledge, because if you go to the ledge without jumping, it does this 1 second long stumble animation.
it's so the maps in this game are already kind of obtuse, and the cameras are terrible. So I'm always getting confused on where I'm supposed to walk to, and it's compounded by the fact that now you can jump into parts of these levels that you probably couldn't before when you were Tidus. You know, when you played Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
And it's real hard to tell what's jumpable and climbable and not. And I have spent so much of my time in this game just literally running into walls. Just running my character model into walls.
13 and 7 Remake both have this, but both of them handle it with a little icon that shows you places you can jump, and that really solves it. That makes it fine in those games. But
Yeah.
in this game, there is no icon.
It's no harder than like a King's Quest or something like that. Those old style
Yeah.
Sierra games where you had to figure out where to go.
Yep, it is a lot like that, actually.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good game.
So, now you're climbing up this tower, trying to get treasure on the way. You are
And
literally
it gives
racing.
you a fucking 5-minute timer, which
Yeah, there's a little piece of UI where you see LeBlanc, Ormi, and Logos running in like a linear position thing, and you're supposed to beat them. At one point, they get stuck dangling off a ledge, and you can beat them to the chest they're about to get to. That's pretty fun.
I think that they get stuck there no matter what.
Yeah,
Because
but they
I
will
had-
make it. They will get that chest if you do it too slowly.
Oh, they'll get
Yeah,
the
they will.
chest?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have just beat the time because I was like, timer was clicking down for me. Like, I wasted the whole 5 minutes. I could not figure out where the fuck I could go to save my life. It made me, I was like almost screaming at the television. It's,
I had like 2.5 minutes left, and I went to a lot of side rooms and got chests and things.
I did the same thing. Yeah, it's plenty of time.
Yeah. You do get some fights with Logos and one with Ormi. And then at the top, you fight, of course, a giant crab named Boris.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep. That is Boris the giant crab. You do fight him. At this point, you have full access to your dress spheres, so you can change jobs. It's pretty great.
I will tell you that darkness, which is in the the singer sphere.
yeah, the
There's
dance-
also another
dance
dark
sphere, yes.
darkness one in Gunner, I think. Oh no,
there?
festival the festival one.
I haven't used
Festivalist.
That's
that.
not in the Gunner one.
It's not the
It's in
Gunner one.
Festivalist that there's another darkness one that's pretty
Okay.
good, but it does
But
damage
the-
at the same time.
The dark song or dark dance one, like it works pretty much. I mean, in my experience, 100% of the time.
There are some
Like-
enemies that are that if they have a resistance to darkness, but I like in 10-2 most of the enemies don't have resistances.
It
No,
works real well. She can do a silence dance too to silence.
Yeah,
enemies.
and like darkness seems to work mostly, I mean in this game mostly with physical attacks. So
Right.
like if you cast darkness, they will not be able to hit you unless they cast a magic attack, which will most of the time give you enough leeway to defeat the boss very quickly.
Right. So that's the end of the prologue. You get the sphere grid, you watch that, and it's just someone's like vacation video.
Yeah. So essentially, like, VHSs are hidden around the world, and people make a huge living finding them and selling them.
But some VHSs have clothes in them that you can change into if you stick them in your garment grid.
Yeah, that's also true.
Mhm.
I think those are different. Though some are like videotapes, and some of them
No.
are garment tapes.
No, they definitely say like, "Ooh, I think we could." This one that we're collecting here is the one that Shinra is like, "Oh, I think I can turn that into a dress." Or, "Oh, we can use that as a dress sphere."
Is that where you get the festival? So let's talk about the festival dress sphere real fast.
It's great.
because it's the best.
I mean, we haven't talked about any of them, so I guess we should. So this game has the job system, but it's weird in that you do not change your character's jobs outside of combat. Well, you can, but it's not like a character gets a job and you use that character as that job for a while. In this game, you literally change your jobs on the fly in the middle of combat, which both changes their job, obviously, into black mage or white mage or thief or warrior. But
Gunner.
also can,
Gun
according
mage.
to John, cast spells.
Yeah.
So like if I have
Yeah.
Give
the
buffs.
healer, I have the healer dress sphere.
Mhm.
Excuse me, garment grid, and I change from one of
No
the
dress sphere.
dress spheres to one of the other dress spheres that is
Now,
where
one
there's
thing-
a gate in
not sure
between
if it-
them. It'll
Yeah.
auto cast that spell.
I don't know if it auto casts it or gives you the ability to cast it.
It gives you the ability. I don't think it auto
okay.
casts.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Sorry, I was wrong
crazy.
there.
So you're supposed to sit here and like and changing your job, changing your dress mid fight does take a turn.
Yeah.
So the
It
strategy
does,
here
but,
is
like-
that you want to swap clothes constantly so that spells will get cast.
Yeah, but there's also if you have a special garment sphere, and each I know at least there's one per character. If you go to every job on your dress sphere or your garment grid, you will then have access to your special sphere, which is like a limit break or a summon, and then you'll be able to, I guess more like a limit break, then you'll be able to do the special action like for Pain, where she gets full throttle and turns into a mech.
Well, it
That-
sounds like it's more like
Yeah.
a summon where the mech then replaces all the characters and you fight as that
exactly.
mech. So it sounds like the Final Fantasy
and
X
the
summons.
the game also gives you like another little extra layer of strategy in that like if you go visit the shops in the towns, you can buy accessories that will give you access to spells outside of what's available in your garment grid.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've got
Or
the yellow
dress
ring that gives you thunder, and there's
Yeah.
the white ring that gives you cure.
Yeah, like so like in Besaid, you can buy one that gives you access to the water spell.
Right.
So it's but it's crazy to me. And maybe it's just the way I play these games. I play these games. I want to get through each combat encounter as quickly as possible, preferably in one single turn. I don't want to sit there and spend several minutes on each encounter. I mean, you get into a million of them. So I guess maybe you really only focus on using these on bosses, but it seems crazy to me to be like, you've got to waste 3 or 4 turns to get access to this one spell?
Yep. Well, but it's not 3 or 4 turns. I think it's like a very short wait to do the like other than waiting through it. It's not even a full ATB turn. It's very very almost instantaneous.
Is it?
Someone can get
speed
an
up fast, and also the encounter rates is lower than in other games.
Well, I have the turn speed up on fast, but it might be too fast because it feels like
that
the
actually, if
enemies
you
just go and
I
go
think
and go
that
and
if
go
you have
and
it,
go.
if you have the turn speed up fast, it's actually worse for that because then they'll have a way to go in while you're doing your animation or your change. So I would keep the turn speed to normal.
Yeah.
I
So
put it on fast, but I changed it to wait, so it's not exactly real time anymore. So I have time to read the little menus.
I did the same thing, and I feel like they just constantly attack me, and the time I spend in the menus trying to get to the dress spheres is too much. We'll see what happens. It's early in the game. Hopefully, pretty quickly, I'll find some sort of blow away the entire field of enemies in one turn, because I don't want to have to fight them all.
Honestly, this seems like the kind of thing you'd love, because it's sort of like a
I
card
know.
combat kind of thing.
I know. I think I don't know what it is. We'll see. As it gets deeper, I might be able to, I might get into it more. Right now, it is still a little shallow, maybe, and
And
I don't
in
wanna...
this game, there's also a whole thing of like, if you try to line up your attacks so they happen at the same time, they do chains with more damage. And so if you want to get like quick attacks, or even like the gunner has an attack that does multiple hits, and you can really up that chain damage. And there's that whole element too.
This game also introduces a tried and true Final Fantasy concept of usually it's items that you equip that give you abilities, but in this case it's your dress spheres. So the more you use a dress sphere, the more ability points, or whatever they call it in this one, you get for that dress sphere, and it auto levels up all of these different abilities. You can select which one is currently being leveled up. So it's not, you can select which one's currently gaining the AP points and get that particular skill or whatever faster, which I have been using a lot of. Like now I have, Pain has a, I got one for Pain called Assault that casts Shield, Protect, and Berserk on the whole party, which is basically like auto play.
Is that
that's
a warrior ability?
Yeah, it is, and you have to cast it, but it doesn't cost anything. But it basically is like auto mode for longer fights, because everybody takes their berserk, so they take their own turns. They just physical attack everything, but their strength is up as well. And
I unlocked Excalibur, and that thing destroys like the boss that you got stuck on.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm working my way through.
It's a
all of that
holy
content.
attack. So, shall we run through the last chapter, or chapter 1?
Well, we still have to do Besaid, and then we also have to do
Xanarkand and Kilika, and the
Yeah.
other side stuff as well.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we're going to get through all of
Yeah,
that.
should we? I think maybe we should stop here, Matt. I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll save that to next time. We'll do chapter 1 its own episode.
Okay.
Well, let's wrap this up. So, listeners, we decided to close here with the prologue instead of finishing at chapter 1 like we said we would last week, because it turned out there was a lot more content than we expected.
Yeah. There's a lot
Other
of
than
secret
John.
content.
John knew how much content there was.
How did
he
I
misled the group
just
into
read-
believing this was just a short
See,
little
here's
chunker.
the thing. The first time I played this game, I did the Matt thing of like, oh, well, these are the hot spots I have to go
Yeah.
to. So now I'm like, oh, I think that you have to do all this other stuff if you want to. But don't try to get 100%, because I've already fucked that up.
I'm just going to follow this guide I'm using now. I think that the real problem stemmed from you saying, we'll just do chapter 1, and me being like, well, that doesn't sound like much. But I didn't realize that you were supposed to go to every location, or at least like a majority of them. I just went to the hotspots, and like I've said at the beginning of the episode, I got party wiped immediately by the boss, and was like, and then I went back and was like, well, maybe I fucked up and I'll try it again. And I almost got party wiped in just the regular fights against behemoths. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to level up.
Yeah. That's
So
fine.
anyway, John, is there a bullshit minigame corner for the week?
There weren't any mini games for the prologue,
Okay.
unfortunately. Let's just say this game is chock full of mini games. There's a whole, the Calmlands has 2 competing theme parks that you can politically ally with.
What the fuck?
Yeah. There's also a guy in the Calmlands who wants you to set him up with a lady.
One thing I read in the
love
guide
this
said-
game. I love it. This is a perfect game.
I did see that in the guide that I glanced at, it did say that you should walk the Marin High Road every chapter, because it changes every time, and there's like a mini game, a High Road mystery mini game at the end.
Yeah, I've done it the first time. I did do that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, the Mihen High Road.
So I think it's time for us to talk about what we are squarely against. Vanessa.
I am roundly for everything that is going on here so far. I am
Nice.
roundly for secret half-naked lady pretending to be pop star Yuna. I am roundly for changing clothes. I am roundly for how self-aware this game is. Like, it really does seem pretty aware of what's going on. Like how people make fun of them for doing the Charlie's Angels pose and everything.
Yeah. It knows
And,
what it's doing.
Yeah, and I'm roundly for Yuna being the protagonist, as she should have been in Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for how lived in the game world feels. Like when you talk to NPCs, even if they're like just really weird sphere hunters, it does really feel like, in contrast to Final Fantasy X, like it's a post-sin, like Yevon religion world. Even in the way like the player characters approach all the different places, like they talk about their old experiences, but it's like kind of always in the context of what's going on in the present. So like I appreciate how you said like a lot of the plot is self-aware. The context in which a lot of the characters talk about what's going on is also pretty self-aware.
It's unusual to see a game that's not like, oh, I heard a rumor that years ago some heroes did this and that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
people know who you are.
Things are talked about like you can tell all the NPCs in the game like experience everything from the first game. Like they're not talking about it indirectly or secondhand.
It's fun how almost every person you talk to, they start the conversation off with, "You remember me, right?" And you get to decide, yeah or nope.
I love that. Yeah. John, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for the job system. I love that they all have. I mean, we've only gotten a few of the jobs so far, but I love that they all have their own take on the outfit. Like the Festivalis one, I guess we'll talk more about that next time. But like each one has like a different thing. Like Riku has a bag full of goldfish, and Pain has a fan and a weird chocobo mask. I haven't seen Yuna's festival look yet. Has
She
anyone?
has two like sort of pom-pom things that she swings around.
Yeah, are those cotton candy or is it like a big fluffy thing?
I think it's a big
'Cause-
fluffy thing.
Because Riku has one of those too, and she like balances it on her head when she wins. And I just think that like the amount of work put into each of the classes, and there must be like, I don't know,
There's a
60.
ton.
Because
I don't think
there's
60.
20.
I
No,
think
but I
there's
mean
25. Yeah.
there's 25 classes times 3, so different outfits for each
Oh yeah,
character.
good point.
And that's a ton of work, and they all look great so far. So I'm roundly for the job system and the design of each outfit on each character.
Yeah.
Vanessa,
I already went.
Jim,
I already went also.
Once
Vanessa.
again, Matthew gets forgotten.
This is like me with a level up most of the time.
Matthew.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and burst that balloon and right on that parade of positivity. I'm squarely against all the bullshit that I've had to deal with in this game so far, including impossible to navigate levels, very confusing and poorly explained job system, which I may come around on as really enjoying for sure. But right now, at the beginning of the game, I'm very annoyed with how little of this has been explained. And it seems very important to playing the game. So yeah, I've got a lot of complaints with the game. They're all like execution based. I like the Unipop Star, all girl power, Charlie's Angels, crazy outfits, job swapping. I like a lot of what's on the surface here. I think it's great. But when it comes to actual function of the game, oof, this is a rough one to play. It is janky. The transitions between scenes are super janky. The camera angles are janky and switch up which direction you're supposed to push on the control when you walk
Matthew,
through an
that's
invisible
you
wall.
bring up a good point. Like, is this a problem with like the game or the way the game is directed?
It's not direction, it's execution. It's poorly made. This is a slapped together sequel to Final Fantasy X. And they put a lot of effort into some things and did not put much effort into other things. And it shows a lot.
We'll talk about that more next time because, yeah, the empty levels when you actually get to explore are so bad. And then, like, some of them, like the Mushroom Road and the Calmlands have encounters every 3 seconds.
The Mushroom Road has this light dark thing. It's supposed to be fog, I think. But, like, when it's not foggy, the sun is shining and everything's bright. And when it is foggy, it just lowers your brightness to nothing, basically. And I just spent so much time just running into fucking walls. It's not.
We'll
it's
talk
not
about
like a
that next
joke.
time.
Yeah, you're right. We'll talk about it next time. Anyway, that's it for me. And what's next?
Whoa. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Square Roots. Next time, so hold on. We've altered the cadence a little bit. Where are we playing to next time?
Said
End
like
of chapter
18
1.
times, for God's sake.
Next up is the Patreon plug.
I'm
What?
sorry, I didn't mean that to sound so sincere. I'm not actually frustrated. I was pretending to be frustrated, but I realized I pretended too well.
Vanessa,
so I
what are you squarely
apologize.
against?
Yeah.
my God.
Jim, do we have a Patreon
Hey, guys,
that people
how did
might
you
want to
level up?
visit?
Wait, but where are we playing to next time?
Here's what I want most of all in the world. I want our listeners to all write to us in whatever method they deem appropriate and tell us, is Yuna a pop star or not?
Who did all the promotion and booking for the concert?
Yes.
Was it Yuna or was it LeBlanc?
Yes.
That is the question.
Mhm. Did Yuna intend to have a pop concert that LeBlanc usurped, or did LeBlanc steal Yuna's identity and use it to become a pop star?
I think there's a logistical argument for Jim's point, but there is a in-game dialogue argument for Vanessa's point.
Is there? What is it?
That Yuna's like embarrassed about dancing.
But she's a singer. That's why I said she's a singer and not a performer.
Yeah, Jim believes that the real Yuna's concert would have been completely different.
I do. She would have had like a Vanessa Keys sing and not like a Britney Spears sing.
Alicia Keys?
Alicia, did I say Vanessa Keys?
I'm
Yeah,
Vanessa Keys.
Don't reveal
Listen to
her
me,
last
Alicia
name.
tickle the
Keys.
ivories.
Oh man, where are we at in this
Patreon.
episode?
Patreon. Let's do the Patreon.
No, I asked you guys a bunch of times. Where are we playing to next time?
Oh, end of chapter 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
The end of chapter 1 for next episode?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
we'll split chapter 2 into the side quests for one episode and then the main story because it's like one long chunk for the main story. So
How many chapters are in this game?
5. And chapter
Oh,
4,
okay.
chapter
Okay.
4 doesn't really have much in the way of side quests, so chapter 4 will be one episode.
If there were 15, I'd have a real problem with what you're saying.
Yeah,
But
this
there's
will
5,
take
yeah.
us. So it'll be prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2 side quest, chapter 2 main story, chapter 3 side quest, chapter 3 main story, chapter 4, chapter 5 side quest, chapter 5 main story.
You know what's
so
really-
9
Is that
episodes.
9?
What's really
Uh,
hard to cope with
9 episodes, yeah.
is,
We
like,
can do less.
in life,
That's fine.
I'm sort of a Yuna, but on the podcast, I bring this Riku personality, and yet you guys cause me so much pain.
Oh, so we have a Patreon.
Oh boy.
We do, and we do lots of cool stuff on it.
Right now, if you go check the Patreon, there is a level up where Stan, Vanessa, and I all QA each other.
Nice.
Vanessa has some letters, Stan has some listener ambassadorship, and we have a special celebrity guest who I won't spoil, who asks Stan and Vanessa some very pressing and personal questions.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I am still shook from that experience.
It's a big celebrity.
It's a big
Yeah, I th-
celebrity. It went, I felt really well, but it got so weird at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We also
so
have
stay
the
tuned for that.
Advent. We also have our Final Fantasy VII Advent Children versus episode up this month.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you put the level up on the Patreon?
Yeah, just for funsies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little extra thank you for our Patreons sticking through us on this tough time.
If you subscribe at the $5 level, there is also access to voting. That's right. We've got another big vote coming up later this year. After we get through all of this Final Fantasy VII stuff that we still have to do, we have because we have a Final Fantasy VII Remake episode still to do, we'll probably have some votes for what we should play next for the bonus episodes. And one of the benefits of being a patron is that we read your name at the end of the episode, and we're going to do that now, aren't we, Jim?
Yeah, but can I say something before that?
Sure.
Is it visit patreon.com/squareroots-podcast?
No, but
Should
like,
I plug
how
the
is-
fucking address?
Is it
How
where
am I the
I'm
only
playing to
person
next
so
time?
far who's finished Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I mean, I don't
Like-
have a lot of spare time, Jim.
I just got to Wall Market.
Oh god, that's what, like chapter 8?
I haven't played it at all, and I don't do shit all day.
You play Animal Crossing. That is apparently your whole deal now.
She wasn't online today. I actually booted up Animal Crossing and
Oh,
went through my stuff.
She turned off her online thing then because she was certainly posting from Animal Crossing all day.
Oh, I was going to go visit her island.
All right, everyone. As part of our Patreon benefits, I will kick us off with the name readings. Payne's Secret Dress Fear can be found at Hot
That's a
Topic.
fucking fact.
Travis Nickerson, Matthew sounds like TJ Miller, Chris Ryan, Ward Childress, Sammy Mitchell, Joshua Bennett, Race Jenkins, Aaron Bachman, Grayson, Ari Corpivara, Cyril the Wolf, Captain Awesome, Mary Queen of Scoffs, GOSA, Andres Rivera, Isaac Wright, Ross Hartley, Eric Garb, Squall would beat Cloud in a fight, Matt Jorgensen, Wash in the Wind, Ryan Miller, Adam Zimmerman, Andy Smith, give me Persona 4 in 2020 or give me Jim's place in the podcast. Rising Hopper, your pal, Zochief, Panicotta Flamingo, Huxley Iguana, Vanessa's mom.
We'd also like to thank Alex Dillard, Redditors Harold Lauder, Gregory, Sean Walsh, Citrus C, Amanda Douglas, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Stephen Kroc, Knopford, James Hostetler, Florian Jonas Kramer, Sean, Chris Wilder, Wonder Swan, Nathan Poirot, Hexagon, Justin Rash, Black Lives Matter, Cameron Shoei, Tyler Petty, Mr. Millard, Stephen Paget, That One Guy, Always Aerith, Brian Pitt, Devin Sloan, at last, a coin-based math mini-game. Just what the people wanted. Yep, skipped right through that tutorial. And the Mighty Monarch!
Armin Hammer, get good, Nuge. Nuge. G. Bailey, Ashley T, Christian Go, Brady A. Berman, Joseph, Lurler of the Cleric,
Lyrial of the Clear.
Aaron Little, Robert J. Defendi, Sean Gonzalez, Miguel Torres, Anthony Cruz is in no way, shape, or form related to Ted Cruz.
Sure.
Michael Crawford, Squall would beat Cloud in a foot race on the beach like in Urgers. Tom, David Green, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy is Jonathan Ellsworth, The Phantom
Hey.
Scofflaws of the Opera, Jake Dickerson, Lexa Varial, Hudson Roth, Robo Vanessa's Robo Mom loves you, Andy M, Saving Sid, Jared Collins, Tracy Tanoff, Andrew DeJethro, Garge Larsharshari.
Guys, can I interject with a kind of an embarrassing story?
Sure, go ahead.
Greg
So I'm part of a community on Facebook that's like posting pictures of your food and asking if it's Flavor Town, like Guy Fieri Flavor Town. And so last night I ordered Whataburger and asked if it was Flavor Town, and one of the people who liked it was Garge la Charit. And I was like, oh no, that's like crossing streams. It's so embarrassing.
He found out your embarrassing secret. I've seen that before. Matt commented on something and someone was like, "Are you Matt from Square Roots?"
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And it was a group that all of us are in, so then we all
Yeah.
got to comment on it. That was fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where was I?
Garge Lacerite.
Garge
Garge.
Lacerite. Gage La Cherie.
La Charité? I don't know. He's never corrected us. He just added an R to his
and
name.
we've called him Gage. We've called him Gage for a long time.
You called him
and I
Greg
only learned
last
today
2
that his name
episodes.
is
You did call him
Garge.
Greg.
Not
last
Jim.
It is. It is. He liked my
Changed
post.
it. Oh,
He
really?
changed it.
Fuck, we don't know.
It's got an R in it. I know it.
Benjamin Hafner. It's a Kwame, Mario, and Alexander Jokic.
Now, I would like to say that Robo Vanessa's Robo Mom is a reference to, if you see me streaming from PS4, I actually have the voice option on, and I made it sound kind of surprisingly like Vanessa.
Yes, you keep saying that. Listeners, if you're not familiar, this is what John's thing sounds like. I enjoy watching you stream.
Yep, exactly.
That is not how I talk.
I made it sound sad and slow.
I am not sad and slow. I'm fast
So-
and peppy.
What you're saying is that Vanessa's a real Eeyore.
No, it's just, it's like a drunk, sad Vanessa.
Oh, John.
So we all call it, when I'm streaming, Robo Vanessa. It's great. Anyway, so Andy Best, Jameson, George Brady, Robert T, Gray Code, Justin Ham, Kiva Moser, did LeBlanc do this? Jonathan Smith, Cake Ninja, Paul Bursch, see you in the live stream, Grandma, love Ron. Bree Girth, Patrick Wubsbears, Cloud Strife's distant cousin, Rainy Altercation, Sling Thing, Ping Ringy Dingy, T Bumpkins, hey y'all, when your back's to the wall, Flora Falal, Robert M. Pullum, Galendo, Chris Penyak, Randy Pierce, Resty Kamada, Stu Skeel, Mike Bloomberg is Shinra, Matthew Casterline, fine, say everyone's name. At least it annoys Matt, but it doesn't. Jordan McNeil, PJ Enns, Andrew Leinart, Vanessa's fourth mom, Matthew Newland, Scroto Baggins, and MB.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you would like an email read on the podcast, you can email us. We are squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Lacey
Why am I so out of
Johnson
breath?
for her awesome cover of Real Emotion. Links to the video and the Lacey Johnson Music YouTube channel are in the show notes.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I am Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
What can I do for you?
That episode was over 2 hours, and we only got halfway through the original plan.
What can